We can see that when the client log in, they have this error, which is the balance as shown in the first month is not the same as the other month. So let's say we have the month in the 31st of December 2023. So the balance in the beginning and at the end is the 11,500. But if we have a look, so the first is start with 10,500. When we go to the last one before that, it start in the November. So it start at 9,000 and it ends at 15,000. So what we expect is this one to be start at 15,000. So we log in as a user, and here we have the console network. So we go to one of the clients, and we are looking at the transaction, which is the tab. We can see that the balance endpoints are getting called, and the one that we care about is the account movement. So we can see that my registry API, and then it get called through the account movement API, which is what this one shows us. So we can, as we go to the portal API, we can see that the get account movement, which is the method that grabs the data, and in here, it grabs the response from the registry API. So we are going to look at that registry API. And then here in the execute, it shows that we have the table called monthly account movement, where it grabs that data. That is where we are going to check on the database. From the ticket, I can see that the client user, the customer ID was 428,370. So I am going to the database and find that person, 428,370, which is in party table. And then I was able to find the person. What I'm gonna do is grabbing their party ID, because what I need to figure out is in the monthly account movement, we have the account ID. And so, and with that, I need account ID to be linked with person ID, and person ID is linked with party ID. So this is a party and account relationship. So I'm looking for that. So I was able to find out a party ID. Using that party ID, I was able to find out the account ID, and then I plug it in. I plug the date that it's gonna give us an error, and I can see that the closing balance when we are in December here versus the start date, which is the next date. So this closing balance and this open balance should be the same. However, it's not. That is the reason why we get the error. This is going to be a data issue. So what we are going to do is finding out how many of those records that have been happening. So the first thing we do is select the monthly data. So I'm using a CTA here. And for testing, I'm only using for these accounts, which is like the actual customer account. And so I figure out that these two accounts has errors. So that's why I'm just trying to test it with small amount data. So I just grab the monthly account data, account ID, start date, and end date. The main thing is a lag of start date, which means that I can grab the lag, which is the previous, the next line, the next date, like the next start date of the next row. So we order them by and date descending. So it's the row below is going to grab the row above it. So and so on with this one. They're gonna do the same. The row below is going to grab the data from the row above. So with this in mind, we grab the monthly data. We grab the main thing we want to care about is the end date, next start date. So these ones should be, we want to compare these one, and then the next open balance we want to compare with the closing balance with the same account. So that's our main point here. Now we grab the person data, which is order, type these party to join to grab the account, and so yeah, I'm grabbing the party ID and the account ID. These are just the person's information that we need. So the next thing we're gonna do is joining them together. So the monthly data we join with the personal data, and we know that the end date is one day behind the next start date. So we just want to add them up and check if they equals. And if they equals and the closing balance and the next open balance is not the same, then we take them. We also order them by account ID and the end date, which um it should be end date descending or ascending, but at this stage it's not very important anymore, even though it's still slightly important because we can see that it's go actually ascending. But the point is we can see the error data. So we have about 509,776 records that is error. So that is definitely something we can send it to the data team to look at. That's pretty much it. Thank you, and I'll see you then.